10 Hidden Signs You've Met a Rare INFJ. You'll understand too late. Have you ever met someone who felt strangely familiar, yet impossible to understand? Someone who seemed gentle, but carried a quiet intensity behind their eyes. Someone who made you feel seen, in a way you didn't know you needed. Someone who listened deeply, spoke thoughtfully, and vanished just as quietly as they arrived. If you've crossed paths with a person like that, you might have met one of the rarest personality types in the world. The INFJ, often called the advocate, the mystic, the old soul, or, for some, the rare person you never forget. But INFJs rarely reveal themselves openly. In fact, you've probably met one without realizing it, because they tend to blend in, observe first, and reveal their depth only to those who feel safe. Today, we're diving into 10 hidden signs you've met a rare INFJ. You'll understand too late. And by the end of this video, you might think, wow, I know this person. Or maybe, wait, that person is me. So let's begin. 1. Their presence feels calm, but their eyes tell you they're thinking about everything. When you first meet an INFJ, they usually appear composed, even serene. They don't crave the spotlight, they don't rush to speak, and they don't fill silence with noise. But the real giveaway is in the eyes. INFJs have a look that's simultaneously observant and far away, like they're seeing the moment and its deeper implications at the same time. It's not staring, it's not judging, it's more like they're quietly collecting emotional information you didn't even realize you were giving away. And here's the thing, INFJs don't do this to be intrusive. They do it because their intuition scans for meaning automatically. People often say things like, I felt oddly safe around them. It was like they understood me instantly. They didn't say much, but somehow they said a lot. That's the INFJ aura, soft, steady, but quietly intense. You feel it before you understand it. 2. They ask unexpectedly deep questions early on. A typical small talk conversation goes like this. Where are you from? What do you do? How's the weather? An INFJ, they'll ask something more like, what made you choose what you're doing now? What inspires you lately? How do you really feel about that? What made you who you are today? INFJs don't try to be deep. It's simply where their minds live. Surface-level conversation feels thin to them, like a movie that ends before the plot begins. They want to understand your inner world, not just your outer one. And when they ask these questions, it rarely feels intrusive. It feels like someone finally cares enough to ask the things you didn't even know you wanted to talk about. 3. They listen in a way that makes you feel emotionally uncovered. Most people listen to reply. INFJs listen to understand. There's a difference you can feel. When someone talks, an INFJ pays attention to the words, listens for what's missing, senses the emotions behind the tone, watches the microexpressions, pieces together the story no one else is noticing. It can almost feel like they see right through the mask you didn't realize you were wearing. And the strangest part, people often end up telling INFJs things they've never shared with anyone else, without knowing why. It's not magic. INFJs create emotional permission simply by being present without judgment. That's rare and unforgettable. 4. They feel familiar even if you just met them. Some people you meet feel like strangers. INFJs often feel like a déjà vu, like someone you've known in a past chapter of your life, or maybe a person you should have known but didn't. There's a subtle softness to their energy, a sense of you can be yourself here. This isn't because INFJs try to be likable. Actually, many INFJs worry they're too misunderstood or too different. But their natural empathy creates a bridge between people, even without words. You walk away thinking, I don't know why, but I felt comfortable with them instantly. That's the INFJ effect. 5. They speak in metaphors, images, and layered meanings. Have you ever noticed someone explain feelings using symbolic language? Instead of I'm tired, an INFJ might say, it feels like my mind is carrying too many open windows. Instead of I'm hurt, they might say, it's like someone dimmed the lights inside. INFJs think in symbols and patterns, not literal points. Their intuition operates like a storybook or a puzzle, meaning comes wrapped in layers. They speak in analogies because that's how they process the world, not through straight lines, but through connections. This can make INFJs sound wise, creative, poetic, or even mysterious. They're not trying to be complex. They simply experience life differently. 6. They pick up on emotional shifts before anyone else notices. Imagine being in a room where everyone is laughing and talking, but an INFJ suddenly becomes quiet. It's not because they're overwhelmed. It's because they sense something shift, someone's tone, someone's forced smile, someone's tension. INFJs notice when someone is uncomfortable, when someone is pretending, when someone is hiding pain, when someone is lying, when someone feels left out, when the mood is changing. They pick up emotional, weather patterns, the way other people sense temperature. This can make INFJs seem psychic, but it's really a combination of empathy, pattern recognition, and deep internal processing. They feel the atmosphere, and they read it better than most. 7. They reveal personal things slowly, carefully, and only after trust is proven. If you opened up to an INFJ quickly, don't expect them to do the same right away. INFJs are naturally private, even secretive about their inner world. They protect their thoughts the way others protect valuables, not because they're hiding something, but because their inner world is sacred to them. You might notice they deflect attention gently. They ask more about you than themselves. They speak vaguely about their past. They reveal thoughts only after long pauses. They test emotional safety before opening up. But when they do open up, it's honest, raw, and surprisingly deep. INFJs don't do halfway vulnerability. When they trust you, you get the full truth, not the edited version. 8. They disappear sometimes, but it's not personal. If you've met an INFJ and they suddenly go quiet, don't assume they don't care. INFJs retreat for specific reasons. Their minds are overstimulated. They need to process emotions. They're replaying conversations. They need solitude to recharge. They're overwhelmed by sensory noise. They feel drained by too much social energy. INFJs don't vanish to avoid people. They vanish to recover from people. They need space the way others need sleep or food. Without it, they lose clarity. But here's the sign you actually met an INFJ. When they return, they often pick up the conversation right where you left off, remembering details you forgot you shared. Their distance isn't rejection, it's restoration. 9. They have a strong moral compass. Even if they don't talk about it, INFJs think about ethics, fairness, purpose, and impact constantly, even if they don't say it out loud. They're guided by a sense of right and wrong, empathy for the vulnerable, a desire for harmony, a need for authenticity, a belief in deeper purpose. They don't need to be loud to be principled. Their strength is quiet but deeply rooted. They'll speak up when something violates their internal code, even if it surprises you. And when they stand for something, they do it with an unusual calmness, like they've already weighed every angle, every consequence, and every emotional outcome. Their values aren't temporary opinions. They're part of who they are. 10. They make you feel seen in a way that stays with you. The rarest sign of all is this. INFJs have a way of reflecting your inner world back to you, not just who you are, but who you could become. Maybe they listened without judgment when you needed it most. Maybe they said something that went straight to your core. Maybe they noticed your pain when no one else did. Maybe they believed in a part of you that you ignored. Or maybe they simply treated you with a gentleness you weren't used to. Whatever it was, INFJs leave an emotional imprint on people, not because they're trying to, not because they want attention or praise, but because their presence activates something in others, a sense of recognition, understanding, and resonance you don't forget. Meeting an INFJ feels less like meeting a person, and more like meeting a mirror that reflects the truths you didn't know you were carrying. If any of these signs remind you of someone, you might have crossed paths with an INFJ, one of the rarest personality types on the planet. And if you recognize yourself in these signs, you might be the INFJ that others remember long after the moment has passed. INFJs walk through the world quietly, but their impact is anything but small. They leave people better than they found them, even if no one notices how. They understand without asking, care without conditions, and see meaning where others see noise. So whether you've met an INFJ or you are one, just know this: rarity isn't defined by numbers. It's defined by depth, empathy, intuition, and the courage to feel in a world that often rewards numbness. INFJs aren't rare because there are few of them. They're rare because they feel humanity in its full spectrum, and they carry that awareness with grace. And remember, sometimes the rarest people are the ones who understand you the most, without ever asking you to explain.